Welcome back. This is a great one. Humanize your lead. Use the right tonality. Lead with curiosity. Maybe you might have to use some empathy. We might have to drop into some assertiveness. We might have to be a little skeptical if they say we think interest rates are going to come to 3%, right? We might need to use a little bit of a challenging tone and then drop back into the curiosity, right? Sometimes you just have to be snappy, right? So there's a lot of things that are going on here in communication. Make sure we're consciously listening, consciously asking the right questions based off of the answers they gave us. A lot of things going on here, but I know you're doing great. I know you're implementing this if you're right here. And we're going to talk about this next framework, which we call the Catalyst House, which I got from my good friend, James Grant in the DC area, Virginia, DC. If you need a great real estate agent referral for that area, if you have a buyer or seller in that area, James is amazing. And this framework that he came up with a long time ago is amazing. So you have the client, the prospect that is like, we don't want to meet. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that, right? They keep pushing back. We use what we call the Catalyst House. And the reason why the Catalyst House works so well, right? The reason why the Catalyst House works so well is that it allows them to get into a home, but it also allows you to build a plan, and it makes it super simple for them, right? So here's how the Catalyst home works. Again, we're not going to say Mrs. Jones. I just like saying Mrs. Jones and role plays. It's fun. It reminds me of my days when I sold Cutco knives. Just brings me back to nostalgia. So here's how it works. Mrs. Jones, it looks like you're interested in 123 Banana Squirrel Way and a couple of other areas as well. Well, what I tell my top clients in this situation is, let's go see the kickoff house, right? And what I want to do is I want to find the house on the market that best fits all of your characteristics that you're looking for. And then after we view that one house, we'll put together a quick game plan for you moving forward if that one isn't the perfect home or location or just, the size, whatever. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. So why don't we plan to meet tomorrow or Thursday or would the weekend work better for you to view the kickoff home? Now, it's important you say the kickoff home because we all know that they're typically not going to buy the first home. So she or he is going to say, yeah, okay, that doesn't sound so bad. Great. Well, what I'll do is I'll send you a calendar invite. And then once I find the best home that fits your price and your needs and your location, based off of the criteria you told me, I'll update the calendar invite and then send you a text as well with the address. So let's just plan to meet for a few minutes after the appointment so that we can create our game plan based off of the home we view together. Would you be opposed to that, Mrs. Jones? Or is that would that be helpful, Mrs. Jones? Right? Super low key, not salesy, not high pressure. Not a big deal. We're just going to go check out a home and then we're going to grab a coffee afterwards, right? And then when we say, would you be opposed to that at the end, right? That just really allows them to chill out, calm down, right? We're not going to get them the option of 2 times. We're just going to say, hey, does tomorrow or would the weekend work better for you? Super easy. Lots of space available in their mind to think, oh, well, tomorrow doesn't work, but the weekend would be great. Or they'll be like, no, how about Thursday? Oh, okay, Thursday, we could do X time or X time, right? And then the way that it would work is after the appointment, you would find a coffee shop and you just go and buy them a cup of coffee or tea, whatever, water, and you would chat about the home process. So you would just move your buyer's consultation from before to just a few minutes after the first house you see. So you should have a map and have a plan of attack, right? But we call it the Catalyst House because it's the one that kicks off the home search. It kicks off the buying process. Now, a couple of quick tips. When you sit down with them, don't ask them what their timeline is. Instead, ask them this question. Say, hey, super excited. I was just curious, is buying a home more of a now project, or is it more like a fall, winter, spring, depending on the season you're in, a summer project? Is this more of a now project, or is this more of like a, fall project? Lots of space, you guys. Lots of space, low pressure. And then they're like, well, we were thinking originally it's going to be a blah, blah, blah. And then they'll start talking. And now you can start to build a conversation where you actually see what their situation is. What is causing them to want to move, right? And from there, you can start to build some emotion about why they need to move, right? Like the problem around why they need to move. What happens if they don't move? People that are moving for kids' schools, people that want their kids to have a better quality of life. Like these are now buyers, right? You just have to help them connect to that. So the Catalyst House is a great way to do it. If you haven't got, like, if you haven't already asked the questions, you should have asked the questions by now. By the time you asked for the appointment, you should have asked like what they're looking for, why they're looking for it, right? You should have already asked some of those basic questions. But if you haven't, like, this is where when they say yes, like, great. So what are the characteristics of a home that are the most important to you, right? If they say we want a kitchen, like an open kitchen, how do you mean by an open kitchen? I'm curious. Like backyard, how do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like, why is that important? Okay. What are you going to use the kitchen for, right? Just get them to open up a little bit for you. Do you guys have a lot of parties, events, things of that nature? If they open up a little bit to you and they connect emotionally to you, a little bit of their problem, you're going to have a higher probability that they don't cancel the appointment. You're going to have a higher probability that they continue to work with you throughout the process. Even if it is a year, you're going to have a higher probability that they think of you as a trusted advisor versus just a normal real estate agent. So I really, really hope that you use the Catalyst House. Remember the other playbook frame we talked about in the other module. Remember, we want to use conscious tone, conscious listening. We want to use the pauses. We want to use the ums, the oohs, the yeah, that's interesting. Oh, really? Tell me more. That's right. The verbal cues. We really want to use all of these methods and modalities that we use in normal communication on a daily basis with our prospect. And I know that it's hard, right? Or I can understand that it might be hard to think about using the ums and the oohs and the ahs when we've been told. I had a speech therapist as a kid. I had a stutter. They had to beat the stutter out of me. And now I use the stutter all the time because I know that it will help us connect with each other. So you're doing great. Keep up the good work. All right. Let me know how these scripts are changing your appointments and how tonality is changing the way that you connect with your prospects who are eventually going to become your clients, who are eventually going to become raving fans, who are eventually going to help a roof over your head, the kids into college, Ferrari in the garage, whatever your dreams and aspirations are. I'll see you soon.